Hi there. Some time ago I bought myself a Trangia Mini and I've been using it quite a lot, and now I feel like I can do something else than just give quick impressions from start. So it's time for a review. So tag along. Yeah, as you can see, I have been using my Mini, or T28 as it's also called, quite a few times. And even though today's video is centered around the Mini, some of you might have picked up that my favorite stove of all times is the Trangia 25. And it's my benchmark that I compare all other outdoor stoves with, and that will also be the fact today. But my goal is to cover the pros and cons about this little stove, and at least one mod that you absolutely have to do to have some real use of this one. But before we open it up, let's run through the stats from the beginning. I have that done, and I will consult my notes because I have not memorized them, and I won't. So I read from the paper. The weight is 350 grams. The packed dimension is 67 millimeters high and a diameter of 150 millimeters. The pot is 0.8 liters and the frying pan is non-stick. Well, that about the stats. My first impressions when I got this is how small it is. I mean, I can almost hide it in my hands, and decent sized pocket. I can put it in here and don't even need a backpack. So the size, well, kind of lives up to the name Mini. And if we take a look at it, if you can see here with my finger there are a couple of grooves around this one, and they keep the lid closed, so there's no need to use a strap to keep this one closed, and that's a good thing, I think. So let's open it up and see what we find inside. So when we pop open the lid, we find that this is the frying pan, and you could fry an egg and some bacon in here. And the non-stick surface, as with all non-sticks, you probably should use some kind of grease to keep it non-stick for a longer time. And the next thing that comes to mind is the handle that you will lift the frying pan and the pot with. And if I compare this to the T25, it's a rather flimsy little thing, but I tried to lift it with a pot full of water and it does the job. I got some tips in the comments about putting a zip tie around it to keep it closed when you're packing it, and that's proved to be very good advice, because this one opens up like this and it's kind of a hassle when to close the set. So this zip tie, that's very good advice, so I urge you to do the same. And then we have the pot itself, 0.8 liters aluminium, and no real markings on the inside to see how much you fill it with. It's not a big problem, but could be handy. I know that other Trangia models have pressed inside markings with deciliters to make it easier to see how much water you fill it with. You can do without, but I kind of miss it. And then we have this thing. This is the house for the burner, and for some odd reason Trangia calls this a windshield, and I can't for the life of me really understand why, because the way this one is made, it can't even protect from a fart. The only explanation I can find is that on the larger versions of Trangia, the T27 and the T25, the place where you put your burner actually is part of the windshield and does the job. This one, it doesn't. So as a windshield, this is totally abysmal. And then we have the standard Trangia spirit burner that you will find in the larger siblings too, with the simmering. And when we talk about the simmering, here we also find a problem with the burner house, because it kind of restricts how much you can open the simmering. Most positions are okay, but quite a few doesn't really work. So for example, keeping it up like this, that doesn't really fit. You can work around it, but not the best fit for it. Something that really has a good fit though is this groove around the pot, and it fits perfectly in the burner house or the pot stand, and you can see I can tilt it quite a lot and it stays in place. That's a very good design. I like that very much, because most surfaces I find outdoors aren't absolutely flat, and so this keeps it in place. You see the distance between the burner and the pot. That's not the optimal distance for a Trangia burner. It's better in the larger siblings. So the result is a flame that kind of goes all the way up here. I used the term dragon breath in more than one video. Bonfire would also have been a fitting description. There's a workaround for this problem too. I find that if you dilute the methylated spirits with approximately 10% water, you get a much nicer flame that fits this distance better. It takes a bit longer to boil the water, but I said it before, if I'm in a hurry to boil water when I'm outdoors on a hike, then I'm doing something wrong. And if it's crucial that I can boil water fast, I wouldn't choose a spirit burner, I would choose gas or a campfire. So that's not a really big problem for me. Well, I was talking about a mod that's kind of necessary to get this one working, and it's a proper windshield. You can buy a freestanding one. They're pretty much cheap as chips. A couple of bucks and you have an aluminium one that you fold out, or you can do it even cheaper like I done here. A piece of ordinary kitchen tin foil, and you wrap it approximately 3 times to get it rigid enough to work, and then as long as it covers about 2/3 of the circumference and you put it against the wind, it will do the job. It's not pretty, but it works, and it takes no place. You can stuff it down inside the pot, so you can bring it along inside it. You don't have to remember to bring it all the time. And while we're talking about what to bring, I found that in this kit I also can fit quite a few things. You can fit a lighter, that's not bad. I made myself a spatula from a piece of wood I found. It works very well, especially for the non-stick, so it always lives in my Mini. It's very handy. A little Scotch-Brite for the cleaning afterwards, and a piece of cloth to dry, or you can use it instead of a mitten if you need to. And the big advantage with having all these things put down in the kit, there's not much space in it now. So when I close the lid, it doesn't rattle around. As it comes, without any stuff in, it will rattle slightly, and that's a bit of a nuisance for me. I like my pack to be silent when I'm out and about. And the thing I hate most are people that are hanging half their pack outside of their backpack. I can understand it if you're in kind of bear country or something and don't want to surprise the bear mother with its cubs, but otherwise keep your pack silent, please. I also made a little another hack for my Mini, like this. See if you can, if I do like this, you may see it more clearly. This is heavily influenced by the cutting board and strainer that you find for the larger Trangias. The T28 and the T27 have those. So I took a very thin cutting board and I made some holes and a place for the grab handle, so I can use this as a strainer. It's not a perfect fit, but it's good enough, and it also helps to protect the inside of the frying pan when it's here. So just an idea, quality of life hack, you might call it. So what would you say is the pros with this one? Well, obviously the size. It's a very compact little kit, so if you're planning to cook just for one and don't want to bring a large kit, it's a pretty good one. It takes very little space in your backpack. And the weight, 350 grams, it's by no means ultra light, but for a complete cooking kit, it's rather nice, especially if you compare with the large Trangia. That's, I think, the absolute lightest version is around 1 kilo, so just more than a third of that one. And the pot, 0.8 liters, it's enough to get your hot water for 2 servings of freeze-dried meals, or 1 serving of freeze-dried and the hot drink of your choice. And I guess that quite a lot of people are satisfied with that, but you actually can cook for real in this one, as long as you're good to cook just for one. As you might have seen in other videos, I've done bangers and mash, I've done popcorn and other things, so it's actually rather good to cook in. And the Trangia burner, that's a reliable heat source. I had, from my old Trangia, I have this burner that's over 40 years old and it's still kicking, so it will probably deliver pretty much forever. And how about the cons? Well, the obvious one, the burner house, or as Trangia themselves call it, the windshield. It's totally horrendous. You absolutely have to fix yourself a windshield. It's an easy workaround, but still, if it's not dead calm outside, you will have many things to say about this performance. I know people that put either the pot or the frying pan as a windshield while they use the other, but I think it's more practical to actually have a real windshield. And if by some odd chance someone from Trangia watches this, please don't call this a windshield in the description. Call it a burner stand or a pot stand or whatever, and we are absolutely good, but if you call it a windshield, you will just piss people off. And as I said, The range of the simmering is somewhat impeded of the construction. It's not a big problem, but it's still there, so you need to work around it, and you might not get the absolute perfect flame you like. And same thing, the distance from the burner to the pot, it's a bit too tight, so you have flames pretty much everywhere if you don't dilute it. Can be worked around, but it's there. A bit of a comparison then. As I said in the beginning, the T28 is my benchmark. And I had it for years, and it performs in storms, in blizzards, and in the pouring rain, and it just keeps on going. There's nothing stopping it. The T28, the Mini, it's a bit more delicate. You can't expect the same performance in really bad weather as from the T28. It has some things to speak for it, on the other hand, namely the price, the size, and the weight. A little bit of extra stuff. There's one thing that's not included when you buy this, that you can buy separate, and it's this bag. It fits the Trangia nice. And for me, there's two clear advantages with this one. As you saw, when I used my Trangia, it gets kind of dirty on the outside, and before I come home and wash it up properly, there's always a chance that it will get other things in my backpack dirty, and this one keeps the dirt contained, and that's a large plus for me. And the bright red color, it makes it a bit easier to find in the bottom of the backpack or outside when the sun starts to set and the light isn't too good. It makes it easier to find. It's by no means necessary. If you want the first advantage to keep the dirt contained, any little plastic or paper bag will do. For me, it was definitely worth it to buy this bag. For you, I don't know. You decide for yourself. So, time for the conclusion. Is the Mini worth it? If you're looking for a complete kit to cook just for one, you want to start out small, or if you already have a larger stove and you want something a little bit more small when you're doing your solo hikes, and you want the option to do something else than just boil water, it's definitely worth looking into. Now when I've done the modifications on I'm pretty happy with it, and it will for sure ride in my backpack in the future for many hikes to come. And the price, it's about a third of a full-size Trangia, and the weight also the third of a full-size Trangia makes it definitely worth looking into. You can summarize it to say it won't break your back and it won't break the bank. Yeah, thanks for sticking by me this far, and if you think that this video have proved to be of some value to you, do give it a thumbs up. It helps the channel and helps this video to get spread over YouTube. And if you have any questions, things that weren't clear in this review, if you have your own experience of the kit or just want to say hi, please use the comments. I enjoy the comments that I get and I answer them all the time, you know that. And if you wonder if I'm doing more shenanigans outdoors, press the subscribe and the bell and you will surely get a notification when I'm out next time. But until then, take care. Cheers.